What's up, Stu? Welcome back.
Thank you, Jim.
Dude, I'm excited. You know why?
It's almost
Because
turkey time.
1 week from tomorrow, I will be eating my turkey and having my food coma.
Mm,
But I will be earning my Thanksgiving
yes,
dinner with a Stu Smith workout.
I think
So
that's wise choice, Jim.
it's
Wise
kind of like the sauna. I look at the sauna as my refuge after my Stu Smith tune-up.
choice.
uh, for my workout and stuff. So this month we've been talking about webinars. Yesterday we did the big masterclass on webinars, how to create a sales webinar in 60 minutes or less. I revealed the really cool new tool that not only helps you come up with all the material to promote your webinar, but also to promote the replay, and it integrates your offer stack and a cart close, which is a huge time saver for people.
That's big.
So I want to talk today about the replay. Okay. How important do you think the replay is, Stu?
I think it's pretty important because not everybody can be there at the same time. I mean,
Right.
that's the main reason, but it is more eyeballs on what you're doing.
Absolutely. So, Stu, how important is the replay?
Very.
Okay. So, Stu, how important is the replay?
Even more important than very.
Okay.
You
And
got to have
Stu,
one. You you
and
can't you can't do a webinar without a replay.
100%. And Stu, only one more day left to claim the offer. How important is the replay?
Oh, even more so.
Well, that's actually annoying as crap.
Yeah.
That everything I did was just, hey, Stu, what about the replay? What about the replay? What about the replay? Let's be honest. If the webinar was last Tuesday and now it's like Saturday or Sunday, if I'm still harping on the replay, what is that doing to you?
Makes me. I better go see the replay.
Or it annoys the crap out of you, either
Yeah,
one.
could be. Yeah.
What if you've already seen the replay, Stu, and I keep saying go watch the replay?
Then I'd be a little annoyed. Yeah.
Then you're tuning it out,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I'm shutting it off.
Exactly. So yes, there's stuff you can to all the purists and the geeks and the eggheads and the people that have nothing better to do than to create these workflows that would make Albert Einstein's face fall off. And they've got all these different ways of following up. And if A, then B, and if not B, then C, and then Z, and then one, and all this different crap of figuring out, well, if somebody did see the webinar, then send them this. And if somebody didn't see the webinar, or if they only watched the webinar through this thing. I got a friend of mine who shall remain nameless, not because he's a friend of mine and he doesn't want to claim it, but I remember literally he took 3 months to set up every single contingency and workflow and all this other stuff for a webinar that he was
Wow.
going to do. And then he did the webinar, and the webinar absolutely flopped.
Oh,
And he had wasted all that time. And yes, following up with the webinar is really, really important. But just hammering the replay for 5 days and then closing the cart is lazy and not smart. And I've been guilty of it.
yeah.
Okay. But what we're going to do today is we're going to brainstorm and talk about some things that you could do after the webinar is over to increase engagement and increased perceived value. You ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Stu, if you really wanted to see a webinar and you missed it for whatever reason, Parker needed to go outside and go potty, then he found a squirrel he wanted to chase, and you ended up in Landover, Maryland, chasing your chubby little beagle, and you're like, came back and you're like, oh crap, I spent the last hour chasing after my dog Parker. What's the number one thing you would want at that point?
A replay.
The replay. Okay, great. So if I really wanted to see it and I missed it, then the number one thing I want is the replay. Do I want a whole bunch of crap about the offer that I didn't even know you were really making an offer? Do I need a giant page-long email of all the benefits and the payoffs and all the other stuff? Or at this point, an hour after the webinar, what do you want?
Where's the replay button?
Where's the replay button? I just want the damn link to the webinar so I can go watch it. Okay. Now, tomorrow is here. So let's say we did the webinar. Let's say I was promoting from the webinar we did yesterday. Okay. So Tuesday did the webinar at 11 o'clock in the morning, not at the night. Okay. And then Tuesday evening, send out the replay. No fuss, no must. Here's a replay. Have at it. Check out the cool offer I made. Have a great day. Now, it's Wednesday. What do you want? You ain't bought yet. You watched the replay, or maybe you didn't watch the replay. What would be and this is, we're just brainstorming. I got my own ideas and stuff, but I really just want your opinion. What would be something that would be very helpful for you at this point?
You know what I would do, Jim?
What's that?
I would probably write an article about the webinar that I did with some bullet points of that webinar, and then say, hey, you can watch out the whole webinar using this link.
Okay.
And I'd probably do the same thing with a social media post. And I would send that article to my newsletter and anybody else that missed it.
Okay. I'm going to be real with you about something. I never thought about doing that.
That is like my number one go-to every time. When in doubt, send an article to my newsletter.
Never thought about doing that, because that's kind of like a second chance thing.
Yeah.
Where you write the article about the stuff that, now you're talking about, you would write the article about like the topic of the webinar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, in there's a embedded video that they can click and actually watch it.
Oh, you wouldn't make them go opt in?
Well, I mean, you could, yeah, but
okay.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. So this is plus screenshot of webinar player.
Especially if I just want them to see my offer.
Maybe animated GIF. Now you can tell Stu always knows when I'm doing. I gave Jim an idea. Now he's going to write, like 8 pages of it. But you could do like an animated GIF that looked like a video player that was embedded in the article, and then they click that, and it takes them over to the opt-in page where they can opt in to watch the thing. Or if you really wanted to get crazy with it, you could send to an opt-in, or you could do a reverse squeeze where you give them the first half of the webinar, and then you cut it at a really good point, and you make them opt in then.
There you go. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. So never thought about that. I already have in my head, I know exactly how to do that. And I have a private Genie that I have never released, that I could take the transcript and be able to do that like that.
I like that.
Might
have to see that Genie one day, Jim.
I'll give it to you. You can play with it. then you'll break it and be like, hey, look what I did. And it's like, oh my God. Okay, I really like that. I really like that, Stu. Like, that's really freaking good. Okay, so what else would you do? So, okay, so that's Wednesday. What would you do on Thursday? Because at some point we got to have some kind of a cart close and something like that. But I'm just now just what would you do on Thursday?
I don't know, Jim. I'll be honest with you. That is like just my number one and number two thing to do. And from there,
Okay.
I
So
think I've done everything. I don't know.
Stu's like, I'm just drop the mic.
I could do a
Boom.
live Q&A and talk about it, I guess, on social media.
Okay. I mean that.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and then, get people to the, put a link up there on the screen that people can click and.
Okay. So a live Q&A. I've done that before. Just questions about the topic, questions about the questions, and this could either be live or it could be pre-recorded. Okay,
Sure.
so I'll put live in a thing. But the funny thing is that people who come to webinars tend to come to webinars, meaning, I've also seen people do encores, but I like this idea too of doing a live Q&A, and it's basically about the topic and about the offer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And the cool thing is that you can do the live Q&A, and then you can do the replay of the Q&A. No, I mean, that's,
yeah.
I did the thing. Here's the replay. So we can do the replay of the Q&A with the link. So we could do that. So this is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now, Saturday and Sunday, if we're going to close the cart on Sunday, or you got to think about where you're going to close the cart. Okay. And I mean, hell, I'll take it all the way through until Monday. So now, Sunday or Saturday, Sunday, Monday. One of the things that has worked really well is either a transcript, the full transcript, or the Cliff's Notes. Now, Cliff Notes is probably trademarked, and so you can't call it Cliff Notes, so you call it Jim's Notes. Okay, here you get the Jim's Notes. I've reduced the entire thing down to a single page or whatever, 2 pages. It's a 3-minute read. Whether you missed it, whether you made the webinar or missed the webinar, you're going to be able to do it. Okay.
Right.
Also, we want to have a reference to the pitch. Okay, hey, by the way, the clock's ticking on the special offer that I made. Then on Sunday, just knowing what you know about life and everything else, what would you do Sunday?
Huh. I'm drawing a blank.
Think about like I was your only customer.
Right.
Okay. And so, hey, Jim, here's a replay. Hey, Jim, here's an article that explains, that there's an article about blah, 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 and check it out. Okay. And then I'm pushing the replay within the article. And I could throw in a PS in the email to be like, PS, if you want to watch the article, if you want to watch a replay of the webinar we did, it's pretty good. Another thing that you can do also is sprinkle in quotes from the chat.
Okay.
These are things that you can use throughout, because this is like Parmesan cheese on your pizza. Do you like parm on your pizza, everyone? You sprinkle a little parm? Do you sprinkle some red pepper flakes on there too?
No.
You don't do that? Yeah. I
Too
stopped
hot.
doing that after about age 45. Tasted good today and suffer tomorrow.
Yep.
Come on, ice cream. So, but quotes from the chat. This is something people miss,
That's a good one.
and this is something you can use throughout. So, okay, Sunday is always a good recap day. So recap Tuesday through Saturday. Just like, hey, if you missed the replay, here's a replay. If you missed the article I wrote, here's the art. It's almost like it turns it into a mini newsletter.
Sure. Yeah.
So here's the article, here's the clip notes, here's the offer. Okay. And then finally on Monday, you got 2 emails. Last chance, claim the offer, do the stuff. And then in the afternoon or early evening, you do the final courtesy notification. And I mean, nobody gets pissed at that one. It's like final courtesy notification. Not going to notify you about this again. This is it.
This is
And
it.
the funny thing is that, and Susan would know this better than I, but 30 at least 30% of all your sales are going to come from this one email, if
Isn't that
not
crazy?
more. If not more.
Yeah.
Because I think some people are just waiting. It's like, when it's done, it's done. I mean, hell, half of them aren't even looking at this shit. All they're doing is they're tracking what's happening by the subject lines of the emails that you're sending.
Yeah,
And
you're
they
right.
finally click this and look at it. I love this idea. I love this idea because we used to do it. And we need to start thinking about that again. But the problem is you get so damn busy doing everything that you don't do anything as well or as completely as you could.
True.
And maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm weird. Maybe nobody else does this but me. Everybody else is taking their time and they're not frazzled and they're, just doing everything methodically and thoughtfully, especially now that AI is giving you back, 10 hours of work a day and everyone else is just working 60 minutes a day.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, that's all I do.
Well, I thought all you did was work out and write about it for a living.
That's what I say I do.
That's called duck marketing. You know what duck marketing is?
Never heard of it.
It's when you are calm and unruffled above the surface that everybody sees, but underneath you're paddling like hell. This is actually a really good sequence.
Absolutely. That's a good week of content marketing.
Now, imagine also this being your evergreen sequence
system. Yeah.
In other words, you've got an evergreen webinar. This is a mighty nice follow-up. And I know some people who watched the webinar that we did yesterday is like, well, Jim, you don't have this built into your follow-up sequence that you had. And you didn't say to do a live Q&A. And Jim, you didn't say do a transcript or cliff notes. Easy, killer. I can't anticipate every freaking thing that you could possibly do. So what I did was I baked in the stuff that I know you absolutely must do. But you can use things like the email composer genie, the rewrite, repurpose, recycle genie. You can use Genie Chat to come up with your and there's just all these tools that we have to help you to come up with this stuff. But I'm in love with this idea right here. Because this is that I really like.
Well, if you're trying to make it evergreen, that's a really good way to do it. And you can go back to it so many times and reshare it and resend it, and it doesn't have to be in the same week. It can be a month later.
And this creates another entry point for a webinar. Now, if you were thinking about this again, I was thinking about direct follow-up with people who had signed up for the webinar.
Right.
But if you're going to have people going to an opt-in from this, what's to prevent you from creating multiple articles and driving them to the webinar with multiple articles? Nothing.
Yeah.
And we tend to do this stuff and then we're like too busy running off to the next thing instead of, you know what, I did this webinar, it rocked, and I got this neat little way that I'm able to shove people into it. Sure, let me have this cool follow-up sequence with people, but this is also a great way to drive people after the fact to an evergreen webinar.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, it's really not a whole lot different than watching reruns on television, cable TV, reruns on cable TV back in the day when you actually watch commercials, right? What's that TV network trying to do? It's got an old piece of content. It's putting it back on TV, and it's going to make money because people are going to watch some commercials.
Right.
That's really all you're doing. You have a piece of content that is a commercial for bigger opportunities with your business, and it's just another way to grow.
And what if you looked at it also as the webinar is the rerun and the articles, even though they're the content, they're the commercials that you run to get people to watch the rerun.
There you go. Yeah.
Either way you look at it, it creates, because here's the thing, when you do a webinar, how many topics, how many different things are you probably going to talk about that you could write an article about? In my mind, at least 2, 3, or 4 things that you're going to talk about easily.
Yeah. Probably every bullet you have in that webinar could be an article.
Could be an article, yeah. 3, 4, 500 words. Okay. Yeah. Then if you did a live Q&A, every single question that you answer, unless it's a question about the product or something, but even then, each one of those questions might be able to be turned into an article or at least a blog post or a short or something. And now we're creating this giant network of stuff that's driving back to the webinar, as opposed to just doing the webinar, annoying the shit out of people with 5 emails to go watch a replay and then moving on to the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's evergreening your webinar, Jim.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got me thinking. Huh.
But you're just using a webinar as another piece of content.
Right.
That you can utilize as needed.
Right. But the summary of this whole thing is, if you want to not sell a whole lot from the replay, just tell people to go watch the replay for 5 days straight and then close your cart. But yet that's what most people do. I've been guilty of it.
Yeah,
you know, because I don't think it's because the people are lazy. I think you just, A, don't think about an alternative. B, you get busy. And C, it's easier just to bug the shit out of people to watch a replay and then close the cart and then say, we'll do better next time. And I've been guilty of that too. Oh, well.
Yeah.
No more. So,
yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I've been guilty of just having a webinar and then not even having a replay and just letting it sit out there in social media land somewhere. With no more discussion.
Right.
So yeah, you learn from that one. You're like, man, I put a lot of work into that webinar. Maybe I should try to let people know about that. It still exists. It's still out there. Can get people some eyeballs onto new content and new offers.
100%. But not doing that is kind of like having a baby and then, get it home from the hospital and set him down on the stoop and say, it was nice knowing you, Will. I hope you make your way in the world and, go out there and be somebody, sport,
Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
But I've done it. I've been guilty of it. So interesting. Okay. Well, hopefully y'all found this helpful. There's lots of tools inside of CopyandContent.AI to help you do that. If you wanted to write a really quick email to add any one of these things to the sequence, me personally, I would just go use the email composer genie. That would be my number one thing that I would go to and just say, hey, in fact,
You know what I'm going to do after this, Jim?
what are you going to do?
I am going to freeze frame what you just wrote up there, and I'm going to make my little list. And I'm going to probably laminate that list and put it right here on my desk. There you go. Yeah.
Got it.
Hang on.
That's such old man tech. He's taking a picture of the screen with his phone.
Yes. There you
go.
Nice. No, that's a good list.
That's like my dad.
And I can do that with anything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. Okay, so we're gonna do something real quick here. I'm gonna show you what you can do with Email Composer Genie. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, we'll use the dictate. My name is Stu Smith, and I just did a webinar called Your Never Quit Mindset Breakthrough. And I want to send an email to the participants who may or may not have seen the webinar and may or may not have seen the replay. But I have written an article about the number one thing that everybody needs to do to adopt a never quit mindset. And this is information that I did not reveal directly in the webinar. So everybody needs to go check it out. And here is the link. So there you go. All right. So it always misspells your name. Let me hit the easy button. Now it's going to fill everything out. And I may need to make a little adjustment. See, isn't it nice that we have the little progress bar so you know? And it's
like that.
It's got a lot of work to do here. So don't, y'all be hating. It's like, it should go faster than that. Calm down, Scooter. He's working hard, Here we go. Okay, Stu Smith. Get you to read a new article. All right. That's pretty good. So we'll do friendly. And do you do entrepreneur? You do Reader's Digest? What do you do?
I use both of those. I like, I go for that one. I go psychology, especially when it's a never quit mindset one. I go psychology today or.
Okay. So we'll do active, beginner, second person, message length. We'll do nutshell, disc, that. All right. We're just going to do the first one. So what this is going to do is write an email that you could send to drive people to your article. So you're like, why is it taking so long? Again, calm down. Okay. Unlock your never quit mindset today. Discover the key action. Hey there, you taking a great step, attending the never quit mindset. Take your journey further. There's one simple action, unlock lasting change. This action wasn't covered in the webinar because it's the missing piece. I might change that a little bit just because you screwed us in the webinar, but this action wasn't covered directly in the webinar, but it's definitely an important piece of the puzzle. I would do it like that. Implement this in short daily practices and you'll see results like never before. Click here to read the article and start applying this step today. Don't let momentum slip away. Start now to build your never quit habit. Beth Stu Smith. P.S. Read the article and apply the step today to keep your progress strong. Click here. So again, you could, if you wanted to, you could include that article in the email. Why might you not want to do that? Why do I want them to click a link to go somewhere else?
Good question.
Because they can't buy from the email. And I want them to click. So I want them to click over to where the article is, because I could have the article at the top of a page and have the pitch and have the place for them to buy at the bottom of the page. So it's one click, and now they are in a spot where they could fill out a form and buy. And the more clicks you can remove, the better off you are. Now, mechanically, for some people, that might be a huge pain in the ass and akin to open heart surgery, but it if we use Go High Level, we could clone a page, and maybe I'm talking out of turn, but in my mind, you could clone a page and then put the article at the top of the page and have your pitch or your offer and all stack and stuff below it. So you wouldn't even have to have them click. But if you think about it, if I put the article in here, I got to have them read the article and then hopefully get them to click. But if I get them to click, if I entice them with the article and get them to click, then they're where they can buy. So I want to satisfy the itch on the place where they can buy, not satisfy the itch in a place where they aren't even going to see the offer. And I have to then get them to read the article and then click over to buy. I want them to click to get the article, to get that payoff. And then I have the thing waiting there to catch them. It's subtle, but and again, this is something that you could send to people who had already registered for the webinar. This is also something you could send to people who are on your list, like what you were talking about. Because either way, it just you might have a different link for people who had already opted in, for people who didn't. They might be going to a different spot. One, it's got the offer. The other one, you got the article and we want them to sign up. Or maybe you're like, screw it, I've already got them on my list. I'll just send their ass to the page where they can buy, and they don't even have to opt in for the webinar or not.
Yeah.
And maybe maybe you do a test to see which works better with your audience.
Yeah.
But
I like that. That's
an important distinction. And you saw how fast we made that email.
Quick.
I mean, it's not it doesn't have to be built in. The sequence doesn't have to be built in to the exact genie in order for you to be able to add it to your sequence. You just think about it as building blocks. Okay.
Yeah.
So, the bottom line is, think about this follow-up with your audience as real people. And you'll probably do better than just being like the kind of person that wants to ram stuff down people's throats and just buy. Because that's just adding to the noise. I'll give you the last word, Stu.
Jim, I enjoyed this one. And I truly am going to make a list of how to replay useful content. And this could, it's a webinar, but it can be anything. It can be the live Q&A that I just made before we did this podcast.
Yeah.
And, and just write a little piece about it, couple of bullets, and, log in here to sign up for the newsletter, buy the book that I talked about in that one,
right,
online coaching that I spoke about in the live Q&A, anything. Yes. And, I love this. Yeah. It's good. And I love the email creator. Got to use that one.
Email composer.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, appreciate y'all. Take care. And we'll see you next time. And if you want to get in shape,
StuSmithFitness.com.
and if you want to create amazing stuff, go to CopyandContent.AI. And we'll see you all soon. Bye-bye, everybody.